All right, welcome inside the booth. Here's some immediate reaction as the Oregon Ducks go on the road, get the biggest win in the Pac-12 conference since probably Oregon beat Florida State in the Rose Bowl in the playoff, in the inaugural playoff. What a monumental win, not only for the program, the Oregon Ducks, but for that conference, the Pac-12. And that's where I'll start. They have needed a win like this, like they have needed air to breathe in the last few years. This has been a conference that everybody has just passed off and passed over in recognition for national awards and for playoff conversations. And yet now, really the three biggest wins in the college football year are Georgia taking down Clemson in a top 5 showdown, kind of a coin flip game. They win that one. And then you've got UCLA taking down LSU, and then this one. And this one takes the cake. This is the biggest result that we've seen so far in college football, hands down. Oregon on the road, 2-touchdown dogs, and they take down Ohio State. Ohio State, we'll get to them in just a moment, but let's first sit with the Oregon Ducks. That is a real football team. They've got speed. They've got a veteran quarterback. They've got a really good offensive line that was able to run the football and provide holes for their veteran running backs. They've got good wide receivers, and they were not out of place in this game. It's not very often that the Ohio State Buckeyes have to line up and they've got to face people that look like themselves. And they weren't quite ready for that today. And you could see it right off the jump. That defense for Oregon was missing their stars. Kayvon Thibodeaux, street clothes. Justin Flo, street clothes. Drew Mathis, the linebacker, not here. He's not available. They had guys go down during the game, and yet they continued to put in guys that they have recruited at a high level that could run and tackle in space. A couple of things that I thought that the Oregon defense did such a great job of. Now, granted, Ohio State had over 600 yards of offense, but this is an offense that's one of the most potent in all of college football, and they only put up 28 points. Well, how did that happen? They got a couple of great stops when they needed them in scoring position. One was on a 4th down. Okay, so those are timely stops, and that's what you need to have happen. Another thing that they did is they tackled well in space. You didn't see the large explosion plays and yards after the catch from wide receivers for the most part. So everything Ohio State had to get, they had to earn, whether it was through the air or on the ground. And that made it difficult on them, and ultimately it paid off for Oregon. And then the last thing is they made the big play when they needed to and got the turnover late as Stroud ended up overthrowing Olave and threw that interception to Verone McKinley. So an unbelievable job by the defense. Tim DeRuyter, the defensive coordinator, what an amazing game plan. The ability to get those guys to believe that they could go out there and stop that high-powered Buckeye offense. And then kudos to the secondary. Those secondary players were terrific. And it should not be looked over that DJ James was back. And they got some guys back in the secondary. Mikael Wright played really well at corner. So unbelievable performance. And then on the offensive side, that's where the experience was, the game plan was, and they just took advantage of some looks for Ohio State that Ohio State didn't adjust soon enough, and they finally took advantage. They ran the same play for a couple of scores, a 3rd down conversion, big plays when they needed to, and because CJ Verdell is so good, he could just get to the edge and win in that short side. So Ohio State, let's start with Ohio State and the defensive side of the ball. They did not make adjustments quick enough. They were running man coverage, and that's their DNA. That's their blueprint. That's what they do. Having said that, when that's being exploited by the opposing offense, you got to change course. And they didn't do that. And then they didn't play some fundamentals of defense very well. They kept having a crackback block against the linebacker, and then the corner wouldn't spill out over the top. A lot of technical stuff to say that the Oregon Ducks just got the edge. In defensive terms, you call it setting the edge. Someone has to set the edge. Play with their outside arm free. If they're on the right side, outside arm. If they're on the left side, outside arm on the left side. They didn't do that, and Oregon got some big plays because of it. Got to credit Anthony Brown. He hung in there and did a marvelous job, and one of the reasons why he played so well, in particular throwing the football, is that Ohio State couldn't get any pressure on him. So that was the other part, is they didn't adjust in coverage quick enough, and then they didn't go to a pressure package that was able to disrupt the timing of the offense for the Oregon Ducks. All of that led to a couple of touchdown deficit in the 4th quarter, and at that point, you're just trying to hang on. It felt like attrition would get the best of them, but they rose up late and got a couple of huge defensive stops, which was a phenomenal game. This is what makes college football so great. I know Buckeye fans are disappointed, and to Buckeye fans, you should be disappointed. You're a talented team, but you faced a team that was equally talented, and unfortunately, they just executed better. in particular Oregon's offense over Ohio State's defense. The lack of adjustments really hurt, and then the poor execution in the man coverage, in particular setting the edge of the defense, absolutely crushed them. Again, huge win for the Pac-12. Biggest winner of the day by far. Don't care what happens the rest of the day. This today will be, at least in terms of the results on the field, it will be about Oregon taking down Ohio State and the emergence of the Pac-12 this year. And now the Pac-12 has two real contenders. I think UCLA should be ranked higher. This will certainly vault Oregon into the top 10, maybe close to the top 5. Probably should, in particular with the way that they played with their stars out. And it sets the Pac-12 up for a collision course maybe between those two. Potentially Utah can get into that conversation. We'll still have to see what USC is with their quarterback, Keaton Slovis. But now this is a conference, even with the poor performance of the North last week, losing to Montana and Utah State and Nevada, it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter what you do in the middle of your conference. It matters what you do at the top. And the top of the Pac-12 has come to play this year. 2021 looks like a year that we could potentially see a Pac-12 team in the college football playoff. Can't wait to see the rest of the season, how it plays out. But for today, huge win. Oregon Ducks, congratulations. You deserve it. Mario Cristobal had their team ready to go, and they win this one here from Columbus. That'll do it for In the Booth. I'm Joel Klatt. We'll see you next week.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoy that clip, make sure you click subscribe somewhere down here. From game highlights to exclusive interviews and rankings, we've got everything you need as a college football fan right here, College Football on Fox.